This message comes directly from God. You have been tagged by heaven, not by accident, not by coincidence, but by design. Every birth carries a signature. Yours is not ordinary. You are not an afterthought. Heaven does not waste breath. If you are here on assignment. That assignment carries weight, yet most live blind to it. They trade eternal purpose for temporary comfort. They silence the whisper of heaven with the noise of the world. And when life feels small, it is not because you were created small, you know, but because you forgot how vast your calling really is. To be tagged by heaven is both a gift and a burden. It is a reminder you were chosen, but also a demand you must rise. Your doubts will resist you. Your fears will paralyze you. Your comfort will betray you. But listen closely. Your struggle is proof you are marked. Resistance comes only to the significant. The world needs what heaven placed in you. Your voice, your strength, your light. This is not about fame, not about wealth. It is about responsibility. You carry something eternal in a temporary world. And every day you delay, right? The world waits a little longer for what only you can give. So hear this again. You have been tagged by heaven. The call is not in the future. It is now. Do not shrink back. Do not trade purpose for excuses. Do not live beneath the weight of your own name. Rise, stand, step forward. Heaven has already said yes to you. The only question is, will you say yes back? You have been tagged by heaven. That means your existence is not random. You are not a mistake. You are not a coincidence. You are not the result of chance. Every person born carries a mark, a divine seal, a signature of identity. You may have been born through parents, but you were created through purpose. And purpose always precedes creation. Think about it. Before a builder lays a foundation, he already knows what kind of house will stand there. Before an artist touches the canvas, the vision is already alive in the mind. So before you drew your first breath, heaven had already sketched your design. Heaven already stamped you with identity. That is why no two people are truly alike. That is why your voice sounds different. Your mind thinks differently. Your story unfolds differently. Identity is not found in what you achieve. It is not found in what people call you. It is not found in the failures you regret. Identity was placed in you before you could fail, before you could succeed, before you could even choose. That is what it means to be tagged by heaven. It means you were chosen before you even knew there was a choice. Yet here is the tragedy. Most people live their entire lives never meeting themselves. They copy, they imitate, they conform. They spend their years chasing another person's dream, wearing another person's face, walking another person's road. And all the while, the true self remains silent, hidden, buried beneath comparison. But listen carefully, you cannot be replaced. You cannot be substituted, you cannot be duplicated. Heaven does not repeat designs. Every fingerprint is proof. Every voice print is proof. If God wanted you to be someone else, he would not have bothered making you at all. Your calling is stitched into your being. Your assignment is written in your design. Your uniqueness is your evidence. Think of the seed. The seed already contains the tree. It already contains the fruit. It already contains the forest inside it. So it is with you. Everything you are meant to become was planted in you from the beginning. The question is not whether you have purpose. The question is whether you will recognize it, whether you will answer to it, whether you will live it. And here is the danger. When you do not know who you are, the world will try to tell you who to be. It will measure your worth by status. It will measure your value by numbers. It will measure your success by noise. But heaven measures differently. Heaven measures by obedience. by faithfulness, by alignment with the identity you were given. You were tagged because you were needed. You were marked because the world required your presence. That is why you survived what others did not. That is why you still stand when others fell. That is why life did not break you completely. Because you were tagged, because you were chosen, because identity is stronger than circumstance, look at your scars. They are not proof of weakness. They are proof of survival, proof that your calling kept you alive. Every storm you outlived was a reminder you are still on assignment. Every door that closed was heaven protecting the road that belonged only to you. Every disappointment was heaven whispering, "This is not your name. This is not your path." When you know your identity, you walk differently, you choose differently, you endure differently. And here is the truth. Your identity is not a costume you put on. It is the fabric of your soul. It is the fingerprint of eternity pressed into your being. That is why no matter how far you drift, no matter how deep you fall, there is always a pull inside you. A tug that says, you were made for more, you were meant for more, you were chosen for more. That pull is your tag. That whisper is your calling. That ache in your chest is heaven reminding you who you are. So never confuse your role with your identity. Jobs will change, titles will fade, seasons will pass, but identity does not expire. Calling does not dissolve. The tag of heaven does not wear off. You can run, you can hide, you can deny, but you cannot erase the name heaven already wrote on your life. To be tagged by heaven means this: the universe may forget you, history books may ignore you, but eternity knows your name. And when you understand this, you no longer live as a shadow. You live as someone marked. You live as someone necessary. You live as someone chosen. You have been tagged by heaven. Yet, even after knowing this, most people still feel small. They doubt their worth. They question their value. They whisper to themselves, "Who am I to matter?" But hear me clearly. Feeling small does not mean you are small. It only means you have forgotten the scale of your design. The seed does not look like a forest. The child does not look like a leader. The beginning rarely looks like the destiny. Do not be deceived by appearances. Greatness often hides in fragile beginnings. When you compare yourself to others, you shrink what heaven made vast. When you measure yourself by the world's standards, you belittle what eternity declared infinite. The illusion of smallness is one of the greatest lies. It convinces giants to think they are grasshoppers. It convinces kings to live as beggars. It convinces chosen ones to live like the forgotten. And the world profits from that lie. If you think you are small, you will settle for less. You will stop reaching. You will stop building. But think about this. The ocean is made of drops. The mountain is made of stones. The fire is made of sparks. What seems small today may be the very foundation of something eternal. The illusion of smallness grows stronger with silence. When you do not use your gift, it begins to whisper that you never had one. When you do not step forward, it convinces you there was nowhere to step. When you do not act, it tricks you into believing you never mattered. But the truth is, smallness is only an illusion. It is a shadow, not a reality. The proof is simple. You are still here, breathing, thinking, longing. That alone means heaven has preserved you. Preservation is evidence of significance. Insignificance does not get protected. Have you noticed? The things we lock away in safes are not the worthless things, but the priceless ones. So if you have been hidden, if your progress has been slow, if your season has felt delayed, Hmm? Perhaps you were not being ignored. Perhaps you were being preserved. Diamonds spend years underground, seeds spend months unseen in soil. Even stars travel light years before their glow reaches us. And yet, in their hiddenness, they never stopped being what they were. The diamond never ceased to be valuable. The seed never ceased to be alive. The star never ceased to shine. The same is true for you. What you call smallness is often preparation. What you call delay is often development. But here is the danger. If you believe the illusion of smallness too long, you begin to live beneath your name. You begin to surrender what was never meant to be surrendered. You stop dreaming. You stop fighting. You stop believing you were tagged at all, and that is how the illusion wins. Not by destroying you, but by convincing you to destroy yourself. Listen carefully. Heaven does not create insignificance. The Creator does not waste design. Every detail in you has a place in eternity. Your laugh, your tears, your scars, your strengths, your weaknesses, all of them combine to form the unique shape of your assignment. So why believe you are small? Why believe you do not matter? Why believe your voice cannot shift something in the world? History was not changed by the crowds. It was changed by individuals who understood they were marked. A shepherd became a king. A fisherman became a messenger. A prisoner became a leader. What seemed small in one season became unshakable in the next. And so it is with you. You may feel hidden, you may feel forgotten, you may feel behind. But remember this, hidden is not the same as worthless. Unnoticed is not the same as unimportant. Delighted is not the same as denied. The illusion of smallness exists to blind you, because the enemy fears what you will become once you awaken. That is why you must resist it. You must refuse to measure yourself by the wrong scale. You must learn to see yourself through heaven's eyes, because when you do, you will realize something staggering. You were never small. You only thought you were never small. You only thought you were. But once you realize this, a new truth becomes clear. You carry responsibility. To be tagged by heaven is not simply an honor, it is a weight. The tag is not decoration. It is direction, it is assignment. Identity without responsibility is like fire without purpose. It burns, but it does not build. The moment you understand you were chosen, you also understand you are accountable for your gifts, accountable for your choices, accountable for the lives connected to your obedience. Because make no mistake, your life is not isolated. Your decisions ripple outward. Your obedience touches generations. This is why the illusion of smallness is so dangerous. If you think you do not matter, you will treat your choices carelessly. You will live as though nothing depends on you, but something does. Someone does. Responsibility means this. Your talent is not just for you. Your strength is not just for you. Your survival is not just for you. Everything preserved in you was preserved for someone else. The comfort you crave says, just live for yourself. Dined, but responsibility whispers, you are connected to more than yourself. Why? And here is the reality. Carrying responsibility will feel heavy. There will be days you want to drop it. There will be nights you wish you could ignore it. But the weight you carry is the proof of your calling. Heaven does not place heavy loads on empty vessels. If the weight feels strong on you, it means something strong is inside you. Do not despise the weight. Do not curse the burden. The burden is evidence you are trusted. Think of the soldier. He carries equipment not because he is weak, but because he is trained for battle. Think of the shepherd. He carries the sheep not because it is easy, but because their lives depend on Him. Think of the parent. They carry responsibility daily, not because it is convenient, but because the next generation depends on it. So it is with you. Responsibility is not punishment. It is trust. Heaven trusted you with life. Heaven trusted you with gifts. Heaven trusted you with influence. Even if that influence only begins with one person. But here lies the tension. Responsibility is costly. It will demand sacrifice. It will demand discipline. It will demand courage when fear screams louder. And this is where many retreat. They want the tag, but not the weight. They want the honor, but not the demand. They want the promise, but not the process. Yet reality does not bend. Every calling carries a cross. Every destiny demands responsibility. If you abandon the responsibility, you abandon the very reason you were created. This is why mediocrity feels safe, but also feels empty, because deep inside, you are avoiding the weight you were meant to carry. Greatness is not measured by applause. It is measured by how much responsibility you are willing to bear. The greater the calling, the heavier the load, the stronger the grace given to you. So stop asking for a lighter burden. Ask for stronger shoulders. Stop asking why it feels so heavy. Remember who trusted you with the weight. You are not being crushed. You are being trained. You are being stretched. You are being prepared. Because the day will come when what you carry will not just matter for you. It will matter for the ones who come after you. And in that moment, you will understand something powerful. Responsibility is not your enemy. It is your crown. The weight on your shoulders is the evidence of the value in your soul. You were tagged by heaven, not to sit empty, not to live careless, but to rise under the weight of your assignment. You were tagged by heaven, not to sit empty, but to rise under the weight of your assignment. Yet here comes the truth. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world around you. It is against the world within you. Responsibility is heavy, but doubt makes it heavier. Calling is clear, but fear makes it cloudy. The struggle is not that you are weak. The struggle is that you are divided, pulled between who you were and who you are meant to become. Inside every chosen one, there is a war between faith and fear, a war between courage and comfort, a war between destiny and distraction. And often distraction wins quietly. It does not shout, it whispers, it pulls you toward lesser things. You do not lose your calling in a single moment. You lose it slowly, through delay, through excuses, through promises of tomorrow. But tomorrow never fights for you. It only robs you of today. The struggle within is subtle. It convinces you to scroll when you should study. It convinces you to sleep when you should build. It convinces you to silence yourself when your voice was the very thing needed in the room. Fear tells you, you are not ready. Doubt tells you, you are not enough. Comparison tells you, you are too late. But none of these voices come from heaven, Ned. They come from the battlefield of your own mind. And this is why so many tagged by heaven never live out their calling. Not because the world stopped them, not because heaven forgot them, but because they lost the fight within themselves. Understand this. You will not always feel like the chosen one. You will not always feel strong. You will not always feel capable. Feelings are liars. They change with the weather. They shift with the season. But identity does not change. Calling does not expire. The tag of heaven does not fade. The struggle within is meant to make you forget this. It tries to turn certainty into confusion, purpose into hesitation, momentum into paralysis. And if you are not careful, you will start to believe the battle inside you is proof that you were never chosen. But hear me, the battle is not proof of absence. The battle is proof of assignment. No one fights over empty ground. No thief breaks into an empty house. No resistance rises against what does not matter. The fact that you feel this inner war is evidence that you carry something worth fighting for. So, what do you do in the struggle? You do not wait until you feel strong. You move while trembling. You speak while doubting. You act while afraid, because courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in the face of fear. Discipline is not the absence of distraction. It is choosing purpose again and again. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to trust anyway. The struggle within is real, but so is the power placed inside you. Do not mistake conflict for failure. Do not mistake weakness for defeat. Do not mistake delay for denial. Every chosen one has wrestled inside. Every giant has felt small. Every leader has questioned their voice. Every light has battled its own darkness. The difference is this: they did not surrender to the struggle. They used it as training. The struggle sharpens you. The struggle humbles you. The struggle prepares you for the weight you carry. Yes, there will be nights you doubt yourself. Yes, there will be mornings you want to quit. Yes, there will be moments you feel invisible. But remember this: you are not fighting to prove you are chosen. You are fighting to remember that you already are. The war inside you is not the end. It is the doorway. It is the fire that refines the vessel, so it can carry the weight of destiny. So do not run from the struggle. Face it, endure it, overcome it, because once you master the struggle within, no force outside of you can ever defeat you. You will never be defeated by the world outside, until you first surrender to the world within. But when you refuse to surrender, something begins to happen. Something shifts. Something awakens. The awakening is not a loud explosion. It is a quiet recognition, a moment when your eyes finally open and you see yourself for who you really are. The awakening is when the fog clears, the lies lose their grip, the whispers of doubt no longer sound like truth. You begin to realize you were never unworthy. You were never too late. You were never too broken. You were simply asleep to your calling, asleep to your identity, asleep to the strength inside you. The awakening is when you remember that heaven tagged you. You remember that your scars did not disqualify you. You remember that your delays did not erase your destiny. And suddenly, the same weight that once felt unbearable now feels purposeful. The same struggles that once felt meaningless now feel like training. The same silence that once felt empty now feels like preparation. This is the power of awakening. It transforms how you see. It changes how you interpret the story of your life, because nothing truly changed in the world around you, but everything changed in the way you see it. The awakening is not when life gets easier. It is when you get stronger. It is when you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as a vessel of purpose. It is when you stop asking, why me? And start declaring, why not me? Awakening is dangerous to the enemy, because once you awaken, you cannot be deceived by the illusion of smallness. You cannot be trapped by the struggle within. You cannot be silenced by fear. Awakening creates clarity, and clarity creates boldness, and boldness creates movement. Suddenly you stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for tomorrow. You begin to act now. You begin to speak now. You begin to build now. And as you do, you discover something extraordinary. The world responds to the awakened. Doors open for the awakened. Opportunities appear for the awakened. People are drawn to the awakened because awakening is magnetic. It is undeniable. It is the sound of purpose waking up inside a person. But make no mistake, the awakening is not a one-time event. It is a daily choice. Every morning you decide, will I live awake or will I return to sleep? Sleep feels safe. Sleep feels comfortable. Sleep demands nothing, but sleep also robs destiny. Sleep wastes potential. Sleep kills purpose slowly. Awakening demands courage. Because once you are awake, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You can no longer pretend you did not know. To be awake means to carry responsibility. To be awake means to walk in identity. To be awake means to say yes to the tag heaven placed on you. And here lies the turning point. When you awaken, your struggles no longer define you, they refine you. Your fears no longer stop you, they shape your courage. Your past no longer chains you, it fuels your future. This is why awakening is powerful. It redeems what looked wasted. It gives meaning to what felt meaningless. It transforms ashes into fire. And once you taste awakening, you cannot return to sleep. You cannot unsee who you really are. You cannot unknow what heaven placed inside you. You may stumble. You may doubt. You may pause. But you will never be able to forget the truth. You were tagged by heaven. You were chosen. You were meant to live awake because the awakened do not just exist. They live, they build, they change, they rise, and when you awaken fully, you realize the world was never waiting for someone else. It was waiting for you.